Today I thought it was about time that I started a new challenge series on my channel, so that's exactly what we're doing. I don't know what I'm calling it yet. Maybe a how I would design a brand, how I would design a website, how I would design a website for blank, something like that. You guys are gonna see it on the screen. If you aren't already following my TikTok and my Instagram for my design business, what are you doing? It's lots of free design brand content, so I do recommend checking those out because I post things like this all the time, but I decided to bring it to my YouTube channel today. So without further ado, let's start with our first design challenge victim. I don't know if we should call him a victim, honoree, I don't know, selection. And that is starting with Jenn. And I think if anyone's been watching her since way back in the day, which I know I have since like I first started watching YouTubers, you may know her as Close Encounters. She already has a very established brand. I'm a big fan of hers, and I thought it'd be really fun today to craft a brand for her and a homepage of a website for her. So let's get right into the designing part. So to start out, we're going to open up Milanote. I love Milanote for just planning, and go to Jenn's channel and her Instagram, create all her photos, pick out my favorites, and then go to Snap, Insta, and this is where I'm going to download all the ones I liked. I noticed when I was going through them, I really like the Polaroid kind of feel. The very green color palette ones is the ones I actually ended up downloading the most of, and I just kind of had a feeling that's probably where I'm going with the vibe of the site, just based on what I like so far. So I downloaded a bunch of those, went to Pinterest, picked some other photos that I liked on there. I tried to pick ones that I thought were recent, but I couldn't really tell for sure on Pinterest. And then I went back to the Milanote drawing board and started compiling all the ones that I felt went together, were cohesive, and the ones that I really liked. And as you can see, I really liked the green ones, so that's kind of the color palette we're already heading towards. For these challenges, I don't really plan things out ahead of time, so it's really just like going with what feels right. So I started looking for a greenish color palette, and I realized I also like the pastel-y vibe for Jenn. I don't know, green just feels like a very like safe, comforting, calming, but also energetic color, so I think it suits her really well. And just picked out the brand color palette and then decided to go looking for a logo. Now, I shouldn't have done this for as long as I did because I don't feel like this was actually super helpful for this project. I started picking out little logos that had like flowers, more of like a circular type of vibe, and I saved a bunch of them and started adding them to my Milanote file, but I kind of knew from the start that this probably wasn't the direction I wanted to go in. I thought about maybe doing an illustration for her, but I was very much undecided when I added these to Milanote. Now for the next step, I move into the website. Usually I would make the logo first, but I think because I was just so indecisive, I was like, let's just start on the site. So of course I'm using Showit. Showit is my absolute favorite website platform builder. If you're a designer, it just feels so intuitive to be using it, and it speeds things up a lot for me. So you can actually do a lot on Showit as well. It wouldn't be like the top website builder I'd recommend if you have like a big e-commerce store, but if you're a service provider, hit me up. I can build you a Showit website easy, even for a small e-commerce provider, but service providers, this is a great site for you. So I started moving around the menu. I made a little hero image with two of my favorite images of her. I left space for the logo because I knew I'd come back for that. And I was really just playing around with like the sizing of the images. Don't forget the mobile device as well. I love that you can see both on Showit because I have a tendency to forget about the mobile device when I get really into designing the website, and having to go back and fix it all after is just a massive pain. So don't forget how it looks on mobile is super important. So I moved the hero section around, added in a little intro. So it said like, hi, I'm Jenn. Talked a little bit about who she is, what you can expect from the site right away. So I added a little blurb being like YouTuber, travel, or like fashion vlogger, foodie. I feel like Jenn is a foodie. And then I added a little section underneath the hero section that really highlights her social media channels. And I did this because I think it's really important. Part of her brand is her social media, so I want it to be an easy place for people to click on her links. So I added it right into the hero. Sometimes I'll throw social media links in the menu, but this just felt like a good spot to put it and kind of a nice page break. So I didn't show you all the web design that I did because we'd be here all day, but this is further down the page. I did add a section highlighting her YouTube channel because of course that's key. So you can actually link videos to Showit. So I linked it in a little laptop mock-up so you can see that it's very much a YouTube video. Linked to her channel. Then I decided to play around with some of her Instagram photos. I really wanted to highlight them because they're so gorgeous. So I made space for her Instagram, popped in my favorite photos in there, and then of course made a little button again to go to her Instagram if you wanted to check that out too. A lot of the copy, if you're wandering throughout the site, I actually took from old interviews that she did online and just pasted it in the site. I also did make a little section for if she had a blog post, and I really wanted this to feel like a Polaroid image that you're clicking on, hence why I made the little white frame in the background. And this is a place where she could link like her fashion favorites, travel favorites, what she packed for a trip, things like that. And you guys will see that when I show the site at the end. Then for the want to work together section, this is where people can submit a little form for her. And I wanted to make this section feel like it had images displayed on a table, because again, I love that kind of Polaroid feeling that some of these images had. So I kind of displayed them across in different angles on this part of the site. For the bottom, I actually took this Let's Stay Connected part from another site that I designed recently, hence why you see that AW logo there, which we're about to remove. And I was a little unsure of like keeping it all the same consistent green. I switch it up a little bit at the end, so you guys will see how that turns out. But this is just so you could also sign up for a newsletter to stay connected with Jenn as well, and it also has all the navigation. And then from here, once I've played around with this a little bit, I finally decided to go and figure out what we're going to do for this logo. So I went and sketched a bunch of images, and I wasn't sure if I was going to draw like an illustration of Jenn. I actually hate how everything I sketch looks at this stage. So today was no exception. I really didn't like a lot of the things I sketched. And again, the logo discovery part, I don't know if it's because I wasn't taking it serious or just having an off day. It kind of felt like a waste of time. I ended up going into Illustrator, picked a font that I liked to kind of combine the J and I, and we used that as her logo. So I input that in as her logo, kind of played around with the sizing of that and the menu bar that was going around it. I'm fairly happy with how it turned out, actually, just keeping it really simple. I think maybe an illustration actually might have been too much going on if I added that in the up top bar. So now I'm playing around with transitions, because you do want a little bit of movement on the site. Don't want people to be bored. And I always like to add transitions last, because I don't want them to be like the make it or break it for the site. Just something a little additional at the end. So had the blog post slide up, had some of the images fade in, and I just added all those things in. And I also decided that I didn't like the logo in the center, because I felt like it was weird because the images are like cut in half. I didn't want everything to be centered, so I moved it over to the side. And this is how the website turned out. Let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you all next time. Oh, also, let me know if you want to do a specific challenge for someone. I'm interested to hear that. So take care, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, friends!